Hi, good afternoon ladies and gents. My name's Jon Davey and I run a business called Social Media Directors. I've been doing my own thing for 13 years and 3 or 4 years ago I looked at what the Americans were doing in the marketing space and they were talking social media. And so I looked at what they were doing and I started deploying some of those principles over here. Now obviously today, usually I'm talking to a room full of marketing type people, yeah, or companies that are trying to sell their wares. You're looking at it from the opposite perspective. So excuse me if I go off piste a bit and take it from a sales approach, but bring me back on track and just corral me in the right direction. Okay. So what's going on in the world? The other day they were talking about the GCSEs and the change of structure. And that's what gave me at that time I was putting this together, so that gave me the theme for this. And hence I came up with the green GCSE program. The message there is I think the best thing that buyers could do in approaching when they're dealing with suppliers is ask them what they're doing with social media so you can get the picture. Yes, you can go and search around key phrases and go to Google and search a company and you'll find some stuff, but you're not going to find it all. And generally speaking, a lot of their new things, they're not going to be getting out there. So if they're on topic and on message and going with what's happening in the world, so if the world's talking about GCSEs, roll with it. So with this, the topic of this being about sustainability, I put green in that pot. I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but it went in there. But what is happening out there in the real world is that people are looking not for you to tell them something. You as buyers, okay, from what I'm hearing, 70% of buyers are using social media to find answers. Can we have a show of hands who's actively using Google, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook to find information about people? Yeah, so what you see, it's 70%. So you guys are doing it, and I guess it's all to varying levels because we're all at varying skill sets and various, needs, demands. Some will get more excited about Twitter and banging on about it, and others, I tend to sort of walk away from that a bit. But you'll have Facebook, don't you, Dave? And he's always on there bashing out stuff. But what's happening is that people are looking and they're wanting to hear and find information about things in their own way. And what you've got to be making sure, or what your marketing teams, so I guess the message here today from me to you is to try and educate your marketing guys in getting your brand across, is make sure that you're on message and that people can find out the right sort of information about you. Okay? Lots of positive stuff. I came up with this title 6 months ago of Director of Inspirational Customer Experiences because I wanted to stand out from the crowd a little bit. And I was listening to Brian Solish yesterday, who's a big deal in the world of social media. He's been commissioned by IBM to do some research and things. But aspirational. Now that is the key, because forever marketing departments have been talking about trying to inspire people to buy stuff, trying to ram it down their throats. You want my stuff because it's great. It's great, it's great. But research is telling us, or research that IBM have done has been telling us, that people are willing to spend 13% more as a general rule. When it comes to quality machines, then people will spend far more. But as a general rule, 13% as an average is what's going on. So people will pay more for that. And so people are looking to aspire to something. They don't want to be sold to anymore. They want to aspire to it. They want to see it there, and they want to be drawn towards it. So what qualifies me to talk to you guys? Well, I've not done any work in the sustainability space. The only thing I did to help the planet, really, was I introduced Karl Marx to HTML emails back in around 2002, 2003. Faversham House Group, they do the Eddy publication. Anybody tuned into that? No, it's more for environmentalists. I guess you might know about it, Dave. What I did do, though, is I created a community in Berkshire under the name of Business in Berkshire to help me promote my email marketing business back in 2002. That became a content management driven website in 2004, and I had 5 million page views to it in 2008. So I've had lots of dealings with small businesses about engaging online and helping them get their message out. Needless to say, like the information we heard this morning, most people are not doing a lot of this stuff. You know, there's things you're supposed to do, and people tell you, make you suggestions, but the vast majority of people don't really engage. And last year I was the lucky winner of Social Media Week, or earlier this year, Social Media Week's Personality of the Year. I basically ran a campaign and I got people to vote for me. Because the essence of any of this stuff, it's about message, isn't it? And getting a message out there and say to people, okay, come and vote for me. These guys are running this competition. They put up a competition. The basic idea was there was 4 awards. One for the best speaker of the week, one for the best event of the week, broadening out across the year, social media personality of the year, and best campaign of the year. So in my little head, I saw this and I went, right, voteforme.org.uk as a campaign, push it out there. I put a page up on the web with a video that clearly stated underneath what you had to do with the links, and so it was idiot-proof, if you like. And so because I had, you know, a bunch of people who were tuned into me, who liked my weekly communications and have been getting them for 10 years, when I asked them to do me a favour, they did. Simple as that. You know, and this is what the social media world's all about. It's trying to get people to do things and take action, and hopefully positive actions in your favour. So I've come up with 6 little examples that I found recently, because you get a lot of stuff shoved at you that's the same stuff. So I thought, I want to find some new things. This is about biofuels, so it seemed, you know, totally relevant to this marketplace. And what they did was they engaged with the local community. There's a local community fair, and it gets 1 million people to it. Like we get 1 million people to a fair here, but they get 1 million people to it in 3 days. And they set up their little store, and they simply shot videos like Hanif's doing today. And they captured 569 videos, and they put them online. And these were people who were talking about how they engage with the biofuel organisation. And that, you know, there's local kids, local suppliers, people, you know, who work in a mechanic was on there. There was a scientist that works in the labs, etc., etc. So getting the message out about how that organisation is appreciated, if you like, by the community. I mean, what great content for you guys as buyers to find about an organisation and make you feel positive, and what great content for them to be delivering to a wider world. And when you look at those 569 videos, you know, on a technical aspect, if you like, from an SEO point of view, they've called them all the same thing. Yeah. So, I mean, my point would be make sure that they're all saying different things, slightly different, using keywords in different ways, so you maximise the number of people that bump into it. But they still had 10,000 views on YouTube, 2,500 fans tuning to them on Facebook, and 169,000 post views on website. Brilliant. And the chap Norman Smith ran that campaign. Tom's Shoes. Anybody heard of this one? Yeah, there's a chap who was strolling across Argentina, young fella, and he saw that these kids didn't have shoes. And so he came up with the concept that if people bought his shoes, he would then supply somebody in need with a pair of shoes. Brilliant little idea. And it's flying. The business is storming. They've been on YouTube for 5 years, and one of their videos has had 370,000 views. It's a lot of engagement. A lot of engagement. Pinterest is the new kid on the block, yeah, and they reckon that's just going through the roof in terms of stats, because, you know, all these platforms grow faster, faster, faster. But 7,000 pins, people have said, I love these shoes, type thing, appearing up there. This is a great example, really good example. You've got a prison in Brazil, okay, and these guys have done whatever they've done. It's a low security prison, so they're not being terribly bad. These guys are peddling, they're charging car batteries. Right? And then the car batteries are then taken and plugged in to the local town square and power 10 lights around the square. I mean, how fantastic is that? So everybody in the community knows this is happening. So these guys are benefiting in so many ways. They're feeling respected, you know, for the first time. They're doing something of value. It's brilliant. And this is what the guy's saying at the end. Rafael Silva, the society contribution. People need that self-esteem. And 3 not so great examples. When I say not so great examples, those first 3 tend to show winners. On this scale, there's a winner and a loser. With this example that Dave shared with us earlier, You know, I bumped into that, and they've got millions of views on YouTube, and this video that she's put together, 10-minute video, it talks about bottled water, and do we actually need bottled water? And it came out of the fact that in the town, do you recall the town it was in? Dave, no. Wherever the town was, big city in America, they tried to launch Fiji water, right? And they were like, why the hell do we need Fiji water? You know, we've got water. It's not like our water's stagnant or anything. And so they started doing, she did some research, and then the crowd do the research, and they join in, yeah? And it turns out that the amount of energy that goes in to producing the bottles for the water is the equivalent to 1 million cars fuel for the year. That's massive when you start thinking about that, and the fact that actually, do we need it? Because when they do tests on water, actually, water's better out the tap, essentially. So we get sold on things. So there's a winner and loser there. The corporate trying to sell the water, but the winners are the community, because she's doing a great job with that, isn't she? Nestle and Greenpeace. This kicked off. Nestle are buying palm oil from around the world, and it's affecting the orangutan's habitat. Now, obviously, the local population don't know anything better. You know, they're getting paid for this palm oil, so they're going to get on and chop down the trees and grow the palm oil, because it's how they sustain themselves. You know, so they've got an internal battle going on there. But with this particular example, people from Greenpeace attacked the Nestle Facebook page. Yep. And the people from Nestle weren't able to deal with it very well. They weren't equipped to deal with the level of abuse that they were getting. And so they came out with some things that they would do as young people, just randomly trying to deal with the situation, which they then jumped on again. So the conveyor belt went. And so the idea is to try and make sure that your people are on message. Yeah, make sure that you've got a bit of older brain going on behind the scenes to make sure that the team who are involved in anything can actually manage that situation properly. And if they're feeling out of their comfort zone, that they've got somebody to call on. Everybody needs to just know where to go if something's going wrong. Waitrose. This was last week. Anybody see this? Waitrose reasons. It was hilarious. And I actually think that Waitrose did it on purpose. You know, they put it out there because there's been so many campaigns that people go, you know, fail, fail, hate, hate, what a loser, that was a rubbish campaign. You looked at the number of people who had actually posted tweets, there wasn't that much going on. But you look at the number of pages indexed by Google and you've got over 12,000. Okay? So more people were talking about this than were actually engaged with it. And getting the word out is all part of this whole social media wheel. Yeah. So I know I keep harping into a marketing space on this, but I think the two are in synergy. It's, you know, you guys have got to be, you'll be looking for information. You know what resonates with you. You know what you want to see. You know, and we want to see some positive factors. We want to see the Amy's example before lunch. Brilliant. Having a measure of how you're impacting the planet and what you're doing, that'll start to grow. If people start picking up on that and start using it, it becomes a de facto standard. Because there's a number of them in the social media world. You know, you've got clout as one. And so, you know, positive engagement is what it's about. And having fun with it, being able to put your tongue in your cheek and go, right, let's smile with this campaign. Let's enjoy it, because lots of people are going to be talking about it. And if they start searching for us, what information have we then got out there? What information, as a buyer, do I want to see out there about other organisations, about the companies I'm dealing with? Tell those suppliers this is what you'd like to see, but lead by example and start putting that out there for yourselves. Have a word with the marketing guys and get them doing this sort of stuff that you want. So don't leave it to them to be preaching, because that's what happens when PR and marketing get involved. They're going down a salesy route. Sell, 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 sell. But it's not that world anymore. The world is changing. People want to connect with the messages. It's happening, and it's happening now. I mean, I don't know if you can read that, but you've got Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Pinterest. You've probably all heard of them, yeah? But underneath, and recent research showed that 70% of people over 35, 70% 70% of the people on those platforms are over 35. Okay? But then you've got DeviantArt, Hacker News, Orkut, GitHub, Reddit, High5, and a whole bunch of others where 70% are under 25. You know what I mean? And that's how it grows. There's going to be new platforms every day. And it's about understanding what those platforms are and what they can do for your customers, for your brand, for the people that you're talking to, who you want to talk to, and get your message out if you're a marketing person. Stop it. Right, so the key things here are, where do people want to engage? Are they going to go through social media, or are they going to come to your website and through your blog? Or do they prefer the phone or email? You know, I love the phone. I've been preaching social media for the last bunch of years, but I prefer to get down, you know, when you're talking to somebody, you can really feel that connection. But what we're hearing from the world of customer service is that most people prefer to deal with you through social media. Not sure I believe that. I think it's what people are trying to force on us. Have you got social communities where these guys can come and just discuss things about your brand as buyers? It could be a buying portal where people can come in and you can discuss with who you've chosen to discuss with about a particular issue, about new products, about new ideas. So you choose who's in that environment and in that space. And you share your company vision and your new worlds that you've just created and the new information. But at the same time, you ask questions of them and get them talking and conversing and sit back and watch what they're saying. There's lots of places this stuff can go. Key things are listen, engage, and share, because people are sharing. And the biggest thing they are sharing, video. People will always share video. You know, if they're going to share anything, lots of tweets go on, but not a lot. The sharing goes on there in real terms. The majority of stuff that is shared is video. Analyse what's going on, respond down the channels. That was a little campaign that we ran last week, because the blotter shop, it's brilliant, because this is a personal situation where a new retailer came to Windsor. I pushed out a bit of frustration, because I live in Windsor, and obviously there's lots of people come to Windsor, so lots of the restaurants and cafes, they don't have to work too hard in terms of attracting people, because the people are there. So I created this thing called Windsor Daily, with the basic idea of people sending us information about what they've got going on, what offers they've got running, and we can push those out to the local audience. So I'm listening to local people. Yeah, so it's nice and local. So I pushed out a bit of frustration. So where the restaurants, you know, going to tell me what's going on, and the blotter shop came back when we open next month. My daughter's 17. She just finished on the Dorney Lake side of things at the Olympics. She's looking for a job, as all the kids are in Windsor. And so I just basically turned around, sent them a tweet back and said, oh, could you do with a 17-year-old assistant? And they came back to me, they said, oh yes, send your CV too, thinking I was the 17-year-old assistant. I said, oh no, it's my daughter. But I pushed that out and wrote a story about it, and then people have been sharing it, because it resonates well with people. It's like a really good example of how, you know, social media can have a positive impact. And it got me thinking, I want to turn that into a space to help other local kids get jobs. That would be logical for me, bringing it together. Anyway, let me just finish with this one. Hanif, with a camera in the back there, we came up with this concept of my business tip. And the basic premise being that people deliver a 1-minute, 90-second tip to camera, and you can then use that in whatever shape capacity you want afterwards. And I totally get that, you know, at least half of you will not be interested at all. But in the breakout after this, and during the other breakouts this afternoon, if you want to wander over there and just give Hanif a 1-minute business tip, we'll make it part of the video that we put together for this event. And you can use it in your own way afterwards. Mr. Twitter. Brilliant. Thanks, guys.